everybody, it's Doug here. Welcome back to the channel, and I mean welcome back. It's been a little while, been a hot minute. I've been doing some stuff. We'll talk about that for a brief moment, but oh my god, yes, there is a game on my table. We're going to play it, by God. And just so you know, life always has a way of taking some really amazing twists and turns. And I'm not saying anything bad. It could be bad or it could be good, but in my world, that has been a good thing. I ended up extricating myself from a job scenario that wasn't so hot and got into something that's really fascinating and wonderful. And I'm enjoying every minute of it, but it has proven to be a tremendous amount of work. And so it's been consuming my days, along with the fact that I've also, as you probably know if you're following the channel, I've been working on a series powered by AI technology for the video and voices and things like that, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own. It's gotten rather big. I'm in a number of different places with it, and it's going into the end of the second season. There will be a third season, and it's garnering me work doing other things, and I'm really enjoying it, but I miss playing board games for y'all, and that was the whole point to my channel. So we're going to get to, I've been doing that for a decade. So that was probably one of the longest breaks I've taken right now, and I'm excited to get back into something. Now, a couple of my favorite game genres are tower defense games and dark gothic medieval fantasy games with characters, etc., etc. And this has it all. I love it. Now, I did back this as a Kickstarter. This is not sponsored or anything like that. I just have the game, and it's called Aberration. And it is, I'll put this stuff up on the screen with the power and movie magic so you can see the publisher and everything like that. It's all there for you. But it is Ghostfire Gaming is the publisher. Now, in this game, you play a couple of characters. There's some great mechanics where you can play a character, but I'm going to play two. Then I'm going to play the true solo because I wanted to give you the experience of what it's like to play co-op, which I think is really where this game would shine. It is a tower defense game, but with some twists. Now, you can see I've already set up the board, and I'll go over everything that happens on the board as well. But this is also a bag building game, and it has some really good mechanics around that I think is neat. Now, the game mechanics are pretty straightforward. We're going to be defending this town. We can command villagers with our command points to do things. We can go out and fight. We can shoot with archery. We can do magic. We can melee. We can lay traps. We can unlock these locations that'll help us defend the land against the great beast. So out in these woods surrounding this town is a great beast that was thought to be myth and legend, but it has returned, and with it it's bringing abominations and horrors, and they're trying to take the town. Now, if we can manage our objectives and get to the end, we will live. Of course, if we get to the point where the great beast is coming, we lose. And we do that by depleting the great beast's deck. And the objectives are scenario-based. So is the maps. There's two sides to each of these, and the setup is different depending on the scenario you're playing. In addition to that, the setup is going to change these places that are on the board, as well as a number of other things. We're going to have basically a number of things we have to manage, not only our characters, but also there is the village in the middle, which it does have some level of management. There's also the great beast and the monsters that will be coming to kill us along with that. Turn order is pretty straightforward. There's a nice little player card. This is the turn order. We're going to return to sign. So first thing, now, obviously, we're going to start the game for villagers already in town. Now, some scenarios will have the villagers out of town, and there's some ways through these tokens, these shadow tokens, where we can maybe even get some more villagers. We'll see. But we're going to return the village to the town center. Then we're going to pass the first player marker. That's the first thing that happens in the village turn. That's it. Pretty straightforward. But then we're going to get to the hero's turns. We're going to take Act 3 action chips from our bag to the level of our intellect. Currently, both of us, every character, I believe, starts with 3. So we're going to do that. And we're going to draw them from a hero bag, and we're going to get to take actions with those action chips. But you can see that we get to move an action chip. Now, it was interesting because when I was watching some of the playthroughs from when this was a prototype, they had this experience thing where you could not only use experience to get those in your bag, but you could also get powers. That's changed. And it kind of confused me at first because I was watching that, and then it dawned on me that that didn't align with the rules at all. So basically, you're going to take one of those every turn. You're going to take an action chip from your board. I'll show you how it works in a minute. And then you're going to draw them up to your intellect, and you're going to take actions based on what you drew. And that's going to give you access to certain abilities and certain special abilities, etc. Okay. It also allows us to unlock these locations. Just to give you an example, you can see that there's two symbols on here. That's might, and that is intellect. If we go there and we spend 2 chips to do that, we're going to gain a survival, which is how we win. And we're going to get to flip this over and use it, which means we can put a militia there to help defend the area. And we'll talk about what that does when it happens. And some different locations have different things that they do. I'm trying to find one that might have a special ability or something. I don't remember what they do. I haven't played that part yet, but we're going to have fun with it anyway. And then, of course, as we're doing that, monsters are going to appear. They're going to start as shadows, but if we can light our way, we'll uncover the monsters that are there. And then also, there's an influence of the Great Beast. He'll influence the board and make things much tougher for us. We will lose by gaining too much fear. Fear is gained in a number of ways. It's gained when these influence tokens land on the board. It's also gained when a monster makes its way to the center. In this scenario, we're going to start with 9 fear, and we're going to go out. We have to go up. We get up to 15. We're defeated, and along the way, we could lose some of our villagers. They basically flee and panic and hate us and hate to stay here and won't help defend us because we are failing them. But then again, if we get to 15 victory in this scenario from 9, then we win. 15 survival. So that's the fundamentals of the game. We're going to really see how this works in a minute, but I want to talk about characters in the bag and how you build it, etc. This isn't going to be a complete rules review because we're going to play sooner than that, but as obviously I'm not going to go through the entire setup. I've already set it up based on the scenario. I will talk about the scenario, and I will talk about the characters. So our first character here is Sasha, and by the way, I picked him pretty much at random. I don't know what if any of them were better than the other or anything, but I thought this would be a fun pair. Sasha, I took the noble class for her. That's not what they recommend in these early scenarios, but I did it anyway because I'm a glutton for punishment. You can see we have there's a number of tokens on these boards. These boards are warping already. That's not great, but they're indented so these don't fall off. That's good. I wish they had done that with the health track at the bottom, but they didn't. So the cube just sits on there. But that's okay. That's how most things work. But you'll see we're going to go up this track. Every character basically takes the same amount of damage. But we do gain new abilities. And as we gain these, you're going to see things under here, a score, which is going to increase our totals, or a thing like get an item, etc. You can get item cards. Item cards are very valuable. Okay. And of course, we will have some item cards at the beginning, but I haven't done that part of the setup yet. I did want to show you that on the back, like when I picked her on the back, it tells you how to set up her bag. So one of these I picked, and I think I picked one that she didn't have, or one that, yeah, I took the 2 white ones. I picked a red, I believe, and then we got a black one. Those aren't necessarily good. When you draw those, you get to use them as any action, but you take damage. And then you can flip the board over and place it down, and that's what we did, and that gives us our character board with our special ability. We're adaptable. You may have 2 held actions. That means I can take an action and put it here and hold it for later and spend it later. I can build up a massive burst of actions. But going along the bottom row, we have our health. And when we hit these certain milestones, we're going to get something called a transformation, which is both good and bad. I think when we hit a number of transformations per character, that's not good. Also, if we get to the last row, we're defeated. And then the noble class also gave me a couple of tokens, a blue and yellow one, which you can see there. And I got to draw 2 item cards, which we'll do. We're going to do that for both of them before we start. And then you get to place your hero in the village or the village center. I did place her in the village because I think we're going to focus her on command. So she can command villagers around to do things. Even though she has some other abilities, that will be our focus. All right, that is basically Sasha. So let's go over and talk about our other character. Now, one of the things we're going to do, well, while we're here, let's just finish this off. We got our bag. That's our blue bag to match the blue border on this board. See, there's 4 bags. We take these tokens, we just put them in the bag. This is our draw bag for our character, our blue character. And then also, we get to draw a couple items. You can see there's a massive stack of items. We'll just give it a quick cut and draw 2 items to use. And these have 2 parts to the items. You can see that this is a net, so we can discard it to stun an aberration or on your map tile, or we can block use it to block and prevent 1 damage. So those are the 2 things we can do with that. And then the other card we're going to get is going to be a Potion of Heroism. Nice. Treat the next action chip use as if it were a heroic action. The white chips are wild, so that's very powerful. And then we can also act. Current player draws 1 ability. So again, the one blocks the damage, and the one allows us to take an action. Now we're going to go to our other character. Apologies for the glare on this board. We'll try and I'll show it to you. And I didn't go over all the abilities of the noble, but you can see they got a bunch of abilities. We'll just go over them as we play, but here, in case you want to see what they are, there they are. And you can see you spend your chips to do these special abilities. Okay, the other character that we have is Bren, the halfling. And again, on the back it says what to put into Bren's bag. And then also flip over and start flip this board over and place the damage track marker, which is what we've done. Special ability is Lucky. Once during your battle, you may reroll, and then we get 1 held action. So we get to do a reroll with Bren. And then on their class, we also get to flip it over. It says add 2 of these tokens. They're right there to your bag. And then we get to get 3 traps. Traps allow us to do things. There's already 1 out on the board. Place 1 trap token into any safe space. I've done that. It's over on the other side where there's a couple of bad guys coming in. Of course, there's a couple of bad guys coming in, well, everywhere. So that kind of sucks. And it says place your hero in the village center or space adjacent. I placed him to him or her. I'm not sure which. I think it's a her. I'm going to say it's a her. Into the space adjacent, and then we flip that over and we have our rogue abilities there and our 2 traps. And once again, we're going to take all of these tokens and we're going to put them in our bag. There's the bag matching the color, and we're ready to go except for a couple of items which I'll get right now. So let's see what Bren gets. Now wait, I don't think it said, did it say to give her a couple items? I thought it did. Add these to your bag. No, it doesn't say that there. Oh, we get the traps. I don't think we get the items. Must double check just to be sure. 3 trap tokens. Place your we don't get items like the other character does to start with. We'll have to acquire them, which is fine. Speaking of acquiring items, this is the village board. This is where we win or lose. And we'll have some tokens out here. We'll have some stuff going on. This shows you what the different villager actions are, and I'll explain them in a minute. This is our fear track, our survival track, our objectives, which we'll deal with right before we start, and our big item decks. That's where the discards go. There's a lot of items in the game. Now, there's 3 basic things that you can do. You can have archers, which means you put them into an archer slot. They cover 2 quadrants of the board, which means they can fire into both, and they basically, based on your command, do roll a certain amount of dice for attack on anything in those zones with archery, which is great, and that's why we're going to focus Sasha on building that up so we can get a lot of ranged attacks out on the board, while she's also doing some other cool things. But the other thing we can do is we can be a torchbearer, which means we can put fire on a path. Now that's really powerful, because when you place down one of these very, very bad influence tokens, if there's a torch there, if the torchbearer has lit a fire there, it just takes the fire away. It doesn't place the token down. Now remember, when we place a token down, we're going to gain fear. That's not good. So now in this scenario, which I'll go over last, we get survival by completing objectives. We get fear by having monsters take over our towns and our stuff, and lay these influence tokens down and get into our village, which is bad. And then lastly, we have a shopkeeper. We can place a character there to draw an item card if we need to. And then it shows the village turn there as well. And lastly, this big bad board right here is the Great Beast board. Now, I've already set it up. You can see that we have this stack of transformation cards right here. We're going to get these as we take damage. Basically, as we're being influenced by the mutated creatures that we're fighting in the woods, we too are going to mutate. They're going to give us abilities, but they also are not good, because it means we're losing health and we're getting closer to winning. There are, in this scenario that we're playing, which I'll go over last, there are 5 cards in the Beast deck. Only 5. It's still a full-length play pretty much, but you'll understand how that works. And then up here we have the monsters that were designated in the scenario that we're going to take. Now right now I haven't done anything with it. I gotta look, there's a difficulty setting. I'm deciding on where I want to play, but these are level 1 through level 6 of these types of monsters. This is frenzied spiders, and right now they just simply do, if I keep them at level 1, they do 2 attack, roll 2 dice, and have 3 health. And as you can see, they start to get more powerful as they go up, but these ones don't get any special abilities. However, you do have some other ones. In the second slot there are grippers. Grippers already start with armor, and that means that the armor basically means they can't take more than 2 points in a single attack. And you notice they have armor the whole way up. They just get tougher and tougher. So hopefully we don't see the end of these stacks. Then the last one in the normal hordes we have are the ravaged elks, and you can see they're pretty gnarly looking. I don't know, they have a lot of health, but they only do one attack to start with. You can see that they start to beef up, but they too never gain any special abilities, and that's good. But we do have 2 monstrosities as well. We have this the Roga, I think that's how you would pronounce it. You can see it's 2/3, but you also get a reward when you kill these things because they're nasty. They have armor and aggressive. I don't remember exactly what aggressive does, but we'll figure out when we play. You can see that they just continue to get more powerful as well, but they don't change in their abilities. And then lastly, we have the Ancient Huroks that are going to be in here. Again, a reward is an item card. They do start with armor, and I think also the ones we're playing with in this never really they get a lot tougher, but they don't gain any new special powers. And then over here you see the remaining shadow tokens. Those will come out on the board as we play the game. Every time we draw a Great Beast card, we're going to be placing out new shadow tokens. We're going to be leveling up. The monsters are going to get tougher, and it's not going to be any fun for us at all. It kind of sucks. Okay, well, that said, we are almost ready to play. And I think so. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at a couple things. The first thing is the scenario. Now, I skipped the very first scenario because it's kind of weak. It didn't use any of the cool stuff that's in it. Like we wouldn't have the objectives. We wouldn't have the transfer. Some of the other I think items. I don't know. I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to play the whole game. So I skipped to the second one. I did watch a playthrough of it. I actually have only tested a couple rounds. I have not played a full game. We'll see how this goes. You can see this is where I got the beasts that will be in our deck. This is how I knew how many cards. I don't know if you can see that well. This is how I knew how many cards were going into the beast deck. This is how I knew to set up our fear and survival track. And then it says here, follow the setup in scenario 1. By adding the following steps, we're going to place vantage points. I've done that. These are the vantage points that are out. And we're going to place 4 villagers in this town center. In some scenarios, they may not be in the town center, but in this one, it doesn't matter. We're going to set up objective cards. I still have to do that. We're going to save that for last. I don't have any relics. There are relics in the game, so I did leave that out. And you notice that it does allow me to use an expansion, but I'm not going to. Vantage points and objectives are new to the scenario. Basically, you'd be leveling up to introduce new rules to yourself, but it says vantage points are important locations on the map scattered around the village. See those on 15, okay? And then objective cards describe a specific task that gain us usually survival, and we're going to take a look at that based on the setup rules, because that's really the last thing we have to do before we start playing. Here are the vantage points. Here's how you secure one. I already kind of told you. You go and you spend the things that you get there. You gain a survival because it's cool. And then when you assign a villager to one of these, you get one of these special things. You notice that I think the 2 down here are militia. And they're not randomly put out. They're put out based on the board. So militia says when making a range attack on this map tile, make a range attack on this tile by rolling a command die. Same thing as putting them in the archer slot, but it gives you some more spaces to do that with. And then they have other special abilities. But I wanted to talk about objectives. So here's the objective rules right here. And it says, in addition to securing vantage points, players must complete objectives to progress survival. All objectives work in the same way. Complete the requirements on the card. Complete the objective. We're going to get these objectives will gain you 1 to 2 survival, depending. Once you have placed an objective token on the objective card equal to the amount specified, you complete the objective. Now we can refocus, meaning we can spend 1 intellect cube chip to draw a new card objective and get a new objective. And then we may have to do that because we might have something that we don't feel we can complete. But yeah, so that's the basic objective rules. It's really straightforward. We have one, we get to see if we can do it. So the last thing that we have to do before we start playing is we're going to shuffle up the objectives and see what we get. We're going to have 1. I did shuffle them, but I'm just doing this for the sake of the game. Have it as random as possible. So we're going to do that, and we're going to draw the first one off the top and see what we get. Rally the defense. This is our objective. You see there's tokens that go in here. There's a bunch of them. We can place them. It says assign 2 villagers to vantage points. Okay, that's not inside the village. That's the vantage points. So this one's kind of tough because we have to unlock some vantage points to be able to do this. Place an objective token on this card each time you assign a villager to a vantage point. Rewards are +1 survival. So We could get rid of that if we want to, or we could do it, but we want to unlock these vantage points anyway. They have cool special abilities, and I think they're very valuable. Though we also have to get rid of bad guys on the board. So with that said, we're ready to play. And how we're going to do this is I'm going to start that in the next session. So we got all set up in this one. We're going to play Aberration by Ghostfire Gaming. And I did, like I said, I did kickstart this one. I love tower defense style games that are good. This one seemed really good. You know, my favorite really, I think, out of all of these types of games, board game wise, is Dawn of the Zeds. That's still my favorite tower defense game. It's so well done. And the other games in the Victory Point game lines that do the similar thing, the way they track and the way the things come into the town to kill you. So fun. It's so awesome. But this one has that feel to it, but in a different setting. I like that. It's a fantasy setting. Let's see what we can do. All right, so I'll see you in the next episode, the next video, where we will play Aberration. I'm so excited to get another game to the table and play it with you. It's a great day for me. Happy Easter to all of you who are celebrating Easter today. Today is Sunday. We had our Easter celebrations already. I'm just chilling, doing some videos and some other stuff. So anyway, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Now, I would love to encourage you to also visit some other things that I'm doing just to help me out. You know, I don't ask for money from anybody, though I do have a Patreon page if you want to go support that, mainly for my filmmaking pieces. But you can't, or you don't have to do that. But what I would ask all of you to do, which would be amazing, is go sign up at Izzit TV. That's IZSIT TV. You can find it on a lot of my stuff. You can find it as a QR code on some of my videos. And just sign up there and just like all my stuff. That's all I ask you. If you can spend a little time doing that, I'd appreciate it. So thank you so much. Take care, and I'll talk to you in the next episode where we get to start our gameplay and defend our village against the great beast. Take care. Bye-bye.